A dying mother's plea. The sky above the alien jungle was turning dark. Heavy clouds covered the twin suns. Captain Rylan moved slowly through the thick trees, his boots sinking into soft, mossy ground. He held his rifle tight, eyes alert. He wasn't here for war. This was supposed to be a rescue patrol. A ship had crashed. There might be survivors. Suddenly, he heard a weak sound. Not a growl, not a beast. A voice. Help. Please. Rylan rushed forward, pushing branches out of the way. Then he saw her. An alien woman, badly hurt, lying against a large root. Her purple skin was bruised. Blood ran from a deep cut in her side. In her arms, she held a small alien child, shaking from fear. Human, the woman whispered, looking up at him with glowing blue eyes. Help, my daughter. Rylan dropped to his knees. I'm here. Don't move. I'll call for med support. But the woman shook her head. Too late for me, she said. Her hand grabbed his wrist, tight. For someone so weak, promise me and you'll protect her. My daughter. Her name is Lyra. The little girl, Lyra, looked up at him, tears in her big eyes. Her skin was a lighter shade and her tiny fingers clutched her mother's dress. I don't understand, Rylan said. Who hurt you? The mother's lips trembled. She looked behind her toward the trees. Monsters. Not from this world, but somewhere human faces. Her breathing slowed. She reached up and touched her daughter's hair gently. She is special, the mother whispered. They will come for her. Promise me. Keep her safe. Rylan nodded, placing a hand on his heart. I promise. The alien mother gave him a soft smile. One tear rolled down her cheek. Then her eyes closed forever. Lyra let out a small cry and buried her face in Rylan's jacket. He gently picked her up in his arms, holding her close. The forest grew quiet again, too quiet. Then a distant sound, a deep thump. Thump. Like footsteps from something large. Very large. Rylan stood quickly, his heart pounding. He looked around. We need to move, he said to the girl. She didn't answer, just held tighter. The journey back to base was not easy. The jungle was thick, and the path was unclear. Strange calls echoed from the trees. Rylan walked fast but careful. He felt eyes on him, like the jungle was watching. Lyra never said a word. She was too scared. When they finally reached the human outpost, the guards at the gate looked surprised. Who's that? One asked, pointing at the girl. Found her with a dying alien mother. We need med support, Rylan said. The gate opened. Commander Harv met them near the center building. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. Good work, Captain, Harv said. He smiled at Lyra. We'll take care of her. But the girl buried her face again in Rylan's chest. She doesn't want to let go, Rylan said. Harv shrugged. Let her stay with you for now. She'll feel safer. Rylan nodded. But something in Harv's smile didn't feel right. That night, Rylan gave Lyra a blanket and sat beside her in his quarters. She still hadn't spoken since her mother died. You hungry? He asked. She shook her head. After a while, she finally whispered. Why did they lie? Who? Rylan asked, confused. The humans. Mother said they were friends. But they took the others. Rylan frowned. Others? She nodded. Other children, like me. They locked them in metal rooms. His blood went cold. Are you sure? He asked, gently. She looked up. You promised. Rylan felt the weight of those words. Something was wrong at the outpost. He could feel it now. And the jungle wasn't the only place with monsters. He looked down at the sleeping child beside him. He had made a promise, and now he would keep it, no matter what it cost. The next morning, Captain Rylan stood at the window of his bunk, watching Lyra sleep on the small cot beside his. Her tiny frame was curled under a warm blanket. She hadn't said a word since her whisper last night, but her face, even while sleeping, still looked afraid. He turned away and rubbed his eyes. Something didn't feel right about this base anymore. The walls looked the same. The guards still laughed. The lights still blinked. But after what the girl had said, Rylan couldn't stop thinking. He stepped outside with Lyra holding his hand. The base looked normal. Too normal. Soldiers trained in the yard, drones flew overhead, smiles and jokes floated through the air. But when Rylan walked past the lab building, Lyra's grip on his hand tightened. She looked at the ground and whispered, "That's where they screamed." Rylan's heart skipped a beat. Inside the lab, Dr. Vale was giving orders to his team. He spotted Rylan and smiled brightly. "Captain, good morning. This must be the girl," the doctor said, crouching to look at Lyra. "We can take her for a checkup." Standard procedure. Lyra stepped back and hid behind Rylan's leg. Her eyes filled with fear. "She's fine," Rylan said quickly. "I'll look after her." Dr. Vale stood. His smile stayed, but his eyes turned cold for a moment. "Of course. Just remember, Commander, Harv wants to keep her safe, we all do." Rylan nodded slowly, but inside something twisted. The doctor was lying. He could feel it. Later, Rylan entered the data room, pretending to check mission files. He waited until the tech officer left for lunch. Then quickly, he searched for any files about alien subjects. After a few locked files, he found a hidden folder, Xenojuveniles Lab 4. He opened it. Photos filled the screen. Young alien children like Lyra, locked in clear boxes. Some were crying, some were strapped to tables. One picture showed Dr. Vale standing beside a small alien boy, holding a needle. Rylan's stomach turned. These weren't medical tests. These were experiments. Suddenly, a hand landed on his shoulder. Rylan jumped and turned. Commander Harv stood behind him, calm but firm. "Looking at old reports, Captain?" Rylan swallowed. "I was following up on the girl's background." Harv's smile was thin. "Those files are restricted. Be careful what doors you open." Rylan nodded, trying to hide his anger. Harv leaned in. "We all do what we must for peace, Rylan. Sometimes peace needs difficult choices." Then he walked away, boots clicking on the metal floor. That night, Rylan sat with Lyra again. She ate quietly, spoon by spoon. The wind outside blew softly through the vent. "Lyra," he said gently, "how do you know about the lab?" She looked at him. Her voice was small. "They took me there once. I saw others. Then my mother came. She broke in to save me. We ran. She got hurt." Rylan felt rage burning in his chest. "She died protecting you," he whispered. Lyra nodded. "She said humans are not all bad, just the ones who smile too much." Rylan let out a dry breath. Smart mother. In the morning, Rylan visited the hangar. His old friend and ship mechanic Ellis was working under a rover. "Ellis," Rylan said in a low voice, "I need your help." Ellis rolled out, wiping his greasy hands. "This about the alien kid?" Rylan looked around. No one else was nearby. "I need a way out. Quietly, a vehicle, maps, food, everything. Can you do that?" Ellis frowned. "You planning to run?" "Not for me. For her." Ellis sighed. "You know what they'll do if they find out?" Rylan stared at him. "They're hurting children, Ellis. You saw the files, didn't you?" Ellis didn't answer, but he gave a slow nod. "I'll fix the rover tonight. Back gate, 0300 hours. You better not be late." Back in his quarters, Rylan packed a bag. Food bars, water, a pulse gun, one blanket. Quietly, he helped Lyra put on warm clothes and small boots. "We're leaving soon," he told her. "We're going somewhere safe." Lyra looked up at him, eyes wide. "Are you sure?" "No," he said honestly. "But I promised your mother. I won't break that promise." That night, Rylan walked toward the gate with Lyra tucked in his arms under a blanket. The guards were gone for shift change. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Suddenly, a red light flashed. Alert. Subject escape. Gate 4. Run! Ryland shouted, grabbing Lyra's hand. Ellis stood by the rover, engine running. Go! I'll cover! Gunshots rang out behind them. Ryland lifted Lyra into the rover and jumped into the driver's seat. The gate was closing. He slammed the accelerator. The rover roared forward. The steel gate closed 1 second too late. The vehicle broke through with a loud crash, sparks flying everywhere. Lyra screamed. Ryland kept driving. Behind them, the base siren screamed louder. They were out, but they were not safe. The real monsters were coming now. The desert wind slammed into the rover like a wall. Sand clouds swirled in every direction. Ryland held the wheel tightly, his knuckles white. Lyra sat beside him, silent, her large eyes staring out the window. Behind them, the human base was just a memory now. But danger hadn't stayed behind. It followed. The fuel gauge blinked red. Not good, Ryland muttered. He glanced at Lyra. She still didn't speak, but her small hands were shaking. He reached over and gently touched her shoulder. We'll find shelter soon, he said. I promise. Suddenly the rover jerked. The engine coughed, then died. They were alone. Silence fell like a blanket. No more sirens. No more voices. Just wind and sand. Ryland stepped out, pulling his coat tight. The horizon was endless. But something shimmered far away. A metal shape. Maybe a ship. Maybe shelter. Come on, he said. He picked Lyra up and walked toward the unknown. It took 30 minutes to reach it. A crashed dropship half buried in sand. Its hull was torn, but part of the interior was still intact. Stay close, Ryland said. Inside, the air was dry and still. Old cargo crates lay scattered. A skeleton sat slumped in the corner, helmet cracked. Ryland checked the body. No ID, no clue who it was, but there was power. A low hum came from the wall. He flipped a switch. Lights blinked on. A small control. Screen lit up. Emergency beacon. Active. His eyes widened. This thing's still sending signals. Suddenly Lyra tugged his coat. Someone's coming, she whispered. Ryland turned. A distant rumble echoed from the dunes. He grabbed the pulse gun and peeked outside. 2 hover bikes approached fast. Dust trails behind them. Human patrols. Not from the base, but from somewhere else. They stopped 50 meters away. 2 soldiers, in black armor, stepped off. One shouted, "Identify yourself." Ryland aimed. Not a chance. "We're not from Harv's command," the soldier replied. "We saw the emergency beacon." The second soldier removed her helmet. A woman mid-30s, scar across her chin. "I'm Captain Nira. We're from the Outcast Unit. Rogue Squad. We left the main force years ago. We fight against what Harv's doing." Ryland didn't lower the gun. "Prove it." Nira opened a side pouch and threw something toward him. It landed in the sand. It was a photo. Dozens of alien children smiling, standing beside human soldiers, and Ryland's old friend Ellis. Ryland blinked. "Ellis sent you?" Nira nodded. "He knew you'd need help." Inside the wrecked ship, Nira told him everything. "We've been trying to stop the experiments, but the Council pretends nothing's wrong. Harv's group has power, weapons, money. They use alien children to make bioprograms. It's evil, and it's growing." Lyra sat quietly beside a heater. Ryland could see she was listening. Nira looked at the girl. "She's the one, isn't she?" Ryland nodded. "Her mother died asking me to protect her. She's more important than you know," Nira said. "Harv isn't just hunting her for tests. She's part of something ancient, a bloodline, linked to an alien species that once controlled weapons even the Council feared." "What does that mean?" Ryland asked. "It means if Harv unlocks her DNA," Nira said slowly, "he might not just win a war. He could start one." Nira's team fixed the rover with fresh fuel. Supplies were shared. Night fell quickly, and the desert grew cold. Ryland stood guard while the others rested. He looked at the stars. He had once believed in the mission and the Council in order, but now Now he believed in a promise, in one girl. Lyra came to him and stood by his side. She looked up at the stars too. "Do you think she's still watching?" she asked quietly. "Who?" Rylan asked. "My mother," she said. He looked down. "I think so, and I think she's proud of you." Lyra smiled, a small smile but real. Suddenly, a sharp alarm blared from the beacon. Nira jumped up. "They found us." A ship roared overhead. Spotlights lit up the wreckage. Dust flew everywhere. Rylan grabbed Lyra's hand. "Go, run with Nira." He turned and fired at the ship's underbelly. The pulse gun lit up the sky. Nira shouted, "We need to move now." But Lyra stopped. She turned toward the ship, eyes glowing faint blue. The air shifted. The sand around her feet rose slightly. A low hum filled the air. Then, without touching anything, Lyra raised her small hand. The ship's left engine burst into flame. It spun wildly and crashed into the far dunes. Everyone stared at her. She looked at Rylan and said softly, "They hurt my friends. I don't want to be afraid anymore," Nira whispered. "She's awakening." Rylan held her close. "We'll keep running. We'll keep fighting. But we'll do it together." For now, they had survived. But Harv wouldn't stop, and Lyra's true power was only beginning. Smoke curled across the cold morning sand. The sky above the desert was still dark, though the first red lines of dawn touched the horizon. The wrecked enemy ship lay half buried in the dunes, its metal body still glowing from the explosion. Rylan stood at the edge of the crater, staring down at the burning wreck. Behind him, Lyra sat on a rock, her knees pulled to her chest. She didn't speak, not since the moment she brought the ship down with just a glance and a raised hand. "She's not just a child anymore," Captain Nira said quietly, walking up beside Rylan. "No," Rylan replied. "She's something else. And now Harv knows." Nira nodded. "We have to move. His full force will come next." Rylan looked at the rising sun. "Then we move fast." By midday, they reached a ridge overlooking an old canyon, deep, jagged, and forgotten. Below, hidden by rocks, was a cave system that Nira's unit once used as a hideout. It had food, power, and a narrow escape tunnel. Rylan helped Lyra down the slope. She moved slowly, her body tired from yesterday's power surge. Her hand never left his. They reached the cave entrance just as a scout drone buzzed overhead. Rylan pulled them inside quickly. The base lights flickered on. Small heaters hummed. Dust covered everything, but it was better than being out in the open. "We'll rest an hour," Nira said. "Then prepare for evac." "No," Rylan said, shaking his head. "We don't run. Not anymore." Nira frowned. "You want to stay? If we keep running, they'll never stop chasing her. We make a stand, right here." Nira thought for a moment. Then she gave a slow nod. "Then let's prepare for fire." They worked quickly. Nira's team placed charges around the canyon entrance. Rylan set up tripwires. Lyra sat in a quiet corner watching them work. She seemed calmer now, but her eyes still glowed faintly. Rylan knelt beside her. "Are you okay?" She looked up. "They're coming. I feel it." "How many?" "A lot." Rylan sighed. "Then we'll give them a welcome they'll never forget." Lyra reached into her coat pocket and pulled out a smooth silver stone. "My mother gave this to me." "What is it?" he asked. "She said it listens. When danger comes, it helps." Rylan stared at it. "A weapon?" "No, a friend." She placed the stone on the ground. It glowed blue. Night came fast. From the cave entrance, Rylan spotted the first ship lights in the distance. 3 transport crafts loaded with Harv's soldiers. "They're almost here," he said. Nira's soldiers readied their weapons. Rylan stood at the center of the cave with Lyra behind him. The ground trembled. Lyra placed both hands on the glowing stone. Her eyes turned fully blue. "Get ready," Rylan whispered. Then, the first wave came. Flashes of light lit up the canyon. as enemy troops poured in. The charges blew, sending rocks crashing down. Screams echoed through the night. Pulse rifles cracked. Explosions shook the ground. Rylan fired into the dust, covering Nira's flank. "We hold this line," she shouted. More soldiers entered. One threw a shock grenade. Rylan dove over Lyra, taking the hit. His vision blurred. Pain surged through his back. But the second he hit the ground, something strange happened. The air pulsed. The silver stone beside Lyra rose into the air, spinning faster and faster. Sparks flew from it. Then a beam of light shot upward, slicing the cave ceiling open, revealing the stars. A massive wave of energy burst outward, knocking the enemy soldiers off their feet. Their weapons shut down. Their armor sparked. Then came the rumble. The earth behind the cave cracked. From deep underground, roots of glowing blue light emerged, curling around the walls like snakes. They wrapped the cave in a living shield. Lyra stood in the center of it all, hair lifting in the strange wind. "I won't let them hurt anyone else," she said. Outside, Harv's command ship hovered above the canyon. Inside the cockpit, Commander. Harv watched in silence as the glowing barrier formed below. "Fascinating," he said. The pilot looked nervous. "Sir, should we retreat?" Harv smiled coldly. "No. We take her, even if it means burning the planet." Inside the cave, Rylan staggered to his feet. "You okay?" Nira asked. "I'm alive. That's something." They turned to Lyra. She looked different now. Older somehow, stronger, like a part of her had awakened. Rylan walked up to her slowly. "Can you stop them?" She looked at him. Not alone. He reached out and took her hand. "Then we'll do it together." The sky cracked open as Harv's ship opened fire. But inside the cave, something ancient stirred. Fire had come, and this time, they were ready. Flames filled the sky like a second sun. Harv's warship hovered above the canyon, pouring fire down onto the glowing shield that now covered the cave. But the shield did not break. Instead, it pulsed brighter with every strike. Inside the cave, Rylan helped Lyra sit down. Her breathing was heavy. Blue sparks danced along her fingers. "That power. It's too strong for one child," Nira said. "She's not just a child anymore," Rylan replied. "She's something the jungle remembers." Nira looked confused. "What do you mean?" She said, "The stone listens. Maybe this planet listens too." A deep rumble shook the ground again. Then, everything went still. No more fire, no more sound, just quiet. 10 minutes later, the shield dropped on its own. Slowly, carefully, the team moved outside. The canyon was silent. The enemy soldiers were gone. Even Harv's ship had vanished from the sky. "Where did they go?" one soldier asked. Rylan scanned the sand, then noticed something strange. Footprints. Dozens of them, heading toward the jungle. Not away. Why would they run into that place? Nira asked. Rylan stared at the tree line. Because something scared them more than us. They followed the trail carefully. The desert ended quickly, and the wild jungle began. Vines hung from tall trees. Strange glowing plants lit the path. The air was hot and damp. Lyra walked without fear. She seemed drawn to something. "Wait," Rylan said, stepping in front of her. "Where are we going?" She pointed forward. "The jungle is calling. It wants to help." "The jungle?" Nira asked. "She's telling the truth," Rylan said. "Her mother warned me once, this place protects what is pure. If she's connected to it, maybe it's part of her." They kept walking. Then, they saw the first body. A soldier in black armor. His face frozen in fear. Vines wrapped around his legs. His weapon was snapped in half, then another body, then 5 more. All looked the same. No wounds, no blood. Just terror. Lyra walked past them with sad eyes. They didn't listen. "What happened here?" Nira whispered. The plants around them moved slowly as if watching. Suddenly a sound echoed through the trees. A whisper, not from one voice, but many. The trees rustled. The ground trembled again. Then they saw her, a tall alien woman, glowing, green, her body made of vines and light. Her eyes shimmered like emeralds. Rylan stepped in front of Lyra, raising his weapon, but the woman raised a hand, peaceful. "She is the seed," the woman said in a soft voice, "and you are her guardian." Everyone, froze. Lyra stepped forward. "You knew my mother," she said. The jungle woman nodded. "I did. She was a keeper, one of the last." "What's a keeper?" Rylan asked. "Protectors of balance," she replied. "When humans began to break that balance, keepers tried to stop it. They were hunted. But now, the jungle has awakened." Again, Rylan lowered his weapon. "We're not your enemies." "No," the woman said, "but many who wear your skin are. Still, she has chosen you." She touched Lyra's forehead. Light flowed from her hand into Lyra's skin. She must reach the heart tree before the moon rises, or her power will fade. Harv will find her again. "Where is this heart tree?" Nira asked. The jungle woman pointed deeper into the woods. "Follow the silver roots. They will lead you. But beware. Not all watchers in this jungle are kind." They continued their journey. The jungle grew thicker. Sounds of distant creatures echoed all around. Once they saw a massive shape move between trees. 8 legs, no face, just glowing eyes. But it didn't attack. It only watched. Hours passed. They reached a narrow path where the roots glowed silver. Just like she said. "This is it," Rylan whispered. Suddenly, a roar split the air. From the trees, giant beasts leapt down, twice the size of a man, with bone-like skin and no mouths. "Jungle hunters," Rylan fired. Nira's team followed, but the creatures didn't stop. Lyra stepped forward. The silver stone in her hand pulsed. She slammed it to the ground. Boom! A wave of light spread out, sending the creatures flying back. The jungle responded. Roots wrapped the beasts and dragged them into the earth. Silence. Lyra stood breathing hard. "We're close now." They climbed a final hill, and there it was, a tree taller than anything they'd ever seen. Its trunk was silver. Its leaves shimmered blue. It stood in the center of a crystal lake, with a single stone bridge leading across. Lyra stepped onto the bridge. Rylan followed, but stopped when he heard footsteps behind them. Harv flanked by 5 elite soldiers. "You made it far, Captain," Harv said coldly. "But this is the end." Rylan raised his weapon. "No, it's the beginning." Lyra walked slowly toward the tree. She wasn't afraid, because the jungle had eyes, and this time they were watching over her. The bridge groaned beneath Lyra's small feet as she stepped closer to the heart tree. It pulsed with a soft blue glow, alive, breathing, waiting. Mist curled around its roots. Every step she took made the tree glow brighter. Behind her, Rylan stood between Lyra and Commander, Harv's strike team. His weapon was raised. Nira crouched beside him, her rifle ready. The other soldiers from Nira's unit formed a wall of protection. Harv walked slowly forward, his face calm but cold. "You don't understand, Captain. That girl is not a child anymore. She is a weapon, one that belongs to the Human Council." "She doesn't belong to anyone," Rylan snapped. "She's not a weapon, she's a life." Harv smirked. "Then why does the ground tremble for her?" Just then the earth rumbled deep below. The air shifted. Even Harv paused. The heart tree flared with sudden light, so bright it forced everyone to shield their eyes. Lyra stood at its roots now, both hands resting against the silver bark. Her body glowed faintly blue, her hair floating as if caught in wind. "She's connecting," Nira whispered. "She's becoming something more." From beneath the lake, cracks spread outward. Glowing roots moved like veins, pulsing with energy. The bridge shook. Trees in the distance bent toward the heart tree as if bowing. And then, the earth cracked open. A massive shape rose behind the tree, stone breaking. Water flying. It was not a creature. It was a structure, a tower, hidden underground for thousands of years. Covered in vines, symbols, and lights, an ancient alien stronghold. Harv stared in awe. By the stars. The ground shook again. From the tower, something stepped out. A guardian, 10 feet tall. Its body made of living stone and light. No eyes. No face, just a deep hum that echoed through the air. It looked at Lyra. Then, it knelt. "She is chosen," Rylan whispered. "No," Harv shouted. "She is mine." He raised his weapon and fired, straight at Lyra. But the guardian moved first. A shield of light appeared, blocking the shot. Rylan returned fire. "You'll have to go through us." The battle began. Lasers lit up the jungle. Nira's unit fought, hard, but Harv's soldiers were elite, trained, fast, brutal. The heart tree began to hum louder, sending waves of energy through the ground. Lyra cried out, her body glowing too bright to look at now. She turned toward the heart tree, her hands still pressed to its bark. "She's activating the old system," Nira shouted. "The tower, it's some kind of key." Harv reached the bridge and charged forward. Rylan met him in the middle. They fought hand to hand, fists, elbows, grunts. Old friends turned enemies. Every punch was heavy with history. "You used to believe in peace," Rylan growled. "I still do," Harv replied. "Peace through control." Rylan kicked him back. "That's not peace, that's fear." The ground trembled harder. The heart tree's branches opened like giant arms. A beam of light shot into the sky. Thousands of glowing seeds floated upward, dancing around everyone. The wind blew outward in a circle. Clean, pure, powerful. Then the tower opened fully. Inside, a glowing chamber filled with memory crystals. A library, a command center, a sanctuary of ancient knowledge. Lyra walked inside, glowing like a star. "She's rewriting the code," Nira gasped. "What code?" Rylan asked. "The balance. Of power. Of life. Of everything." Suddenly, Harv broke free and charged again. Rylan tackled him. But this time, Harv pulled a hidden blade and slashed across Rylan's arm. "You won't stop me," Harv yelled. But, before he could take another step, the guardian returned. It raised one hand. Harv froze, not by choice. His body turned stiff. His eyes wide. The guardian's voice entered everyone's mind. "You have threatened the seed. You will not rise again." A beam of white light engulfed Harv. When it faded, he was gone. Rylan collapsed to his knees, clutching his bleeding arm. "Is it over?" Lyra stepped from the tower. Her eyes had returned to normal. Her glow was fading. She looked tired but peaceful. "Yes," she said softly. "But only here. Others will come." "Then we'll face them together," Nira said. The heart tree glowed one last time, then quieted. The shaking stopped. The jungle exhaled. Later that night, around a small fire near the silver roots, Rylan sat beside Lyra. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "The heart showed me many things." "Like what?" "Like why my mother ran, why she was afraid, and why she smiled when she died." "Why?" Rylan asked quietly. "Because she knew someone good would protect me, someone who wouldn't treat me like a weapon." Rylan looked at her, then smiled. "I promised her." Lyra leaned her head against his arm. "And you kept it." The jungle had changed, not in color, not in shape, but in silence. It no longer whispered warnings. It no longer trembled beneath the steps of soldiers. It breathed with calm now, like a great living creature finally at peace. Rylan stood alone, near the heart tree. His left arm was wrapped in cloth stained with dried blood. The battle was over. Harv was gone. The council had no idea what had happened out here. Not yet. But Rylan knew it wouldn't stay that way. They'd come looking, and when they did, they'd want one thing. Lyra. She sat by the edge of the silver lake now, legs crossed, eyes closed, the blue stone resting in her hands. Its glow was soft, not wild like before, controlled, calmer. "She's been like that for hours," said Nira, stepping beside Rylan. "She's listening," Rylan replied. "The heart tree talks to her now." Nira nodded. "And what do you hear?" He looked at her. "That nothing is over." "Not really." She crossed her arms. "My people want to leave. Go back to the edge worlds. Hide. Start fresh." "You should," Rylan said. "You saved her. You don't owe anyone more." "What about you?" Rylan watched Lyra. "I made a promise. I'll keep it." As the sun sank below the canopy, Lyra opened her eyes. She stood and walked over to Rylan. "The tree showed me a place," she said. "What kind of place?" he asked. "A sanctuary. Not just for me. For all of us. Far from here, hidden under the stars. The keepers built it long ago. My mother wanted me to find it." Rylan frowned. "You want to leave the jungle?" She looked up at him. "I want to go home." That night, they packed what they could. The ancient tower near the heart tree had maps, old coordinates from the time of the keepers. One of them blinked on the screen. A system unknown to the modern human council. Hidden, unreachable by normal ships. But the heart tree had left them a gift. A ship, not made of metal but of light and root, shaped like a flower bud. Silent. Alive. Waiting. 2 days later, it was time. Nira and her team said their goodbyes. "You sure you won't come?" she asked Rylan. "I go where she goes." Nira smiled and shook his hand. "You're a strange man, Captain." "Maybe," he replied, "but I keep my word." She turned to Lyra. "Good luck, kid." Lyra smiled softly. "We'll meet again." Then the jungle opened one last time, vines curling away to reveal the path to the ship. They walked inside together, and the ship bloomed. The journey through the stars was like nothing Rylan had ever known. There were no engines, no sounds, just movement. Quiet and smooth, like falling asleep inside a dream. Lyra stood near the front, her hand resting on a soft, glowing panel. She controlled the ship not with buttons but with thoughts. "How do you know where to go?" he asked. "I don't," she said, "but the heart remembers." After 3 light cycles, the ship slowed. In front of them, a small moon, covered in green light and swirling clouds. No satellites, no beacons, no signals. Just silence. They had arrived. The sanctuary was hidden in a canyon of stone towers. Waterfalls fell from cliffs. Alien birds soared across the skies. And in the center, nestled like a pearl inside a shell, was the temple of the keepers. The doors opened at Lyra's touch. Inside were statues of her people. Symbols Rylan didn't recognize, crystals that pulsed when she walked near. "This place was made for you," he whispered. She nodded. "But not just for me. For those who have no place." Weeks passed. Lyra trained with the memories inside. The temple, old voices of keepers stored in light. They taught her how to shape energy, calm storms, move the earth. Not to fight, but to protect. Rylan worked outside, building shelter, setting traps, studying the land. Sometimes, he watched Lyra from afar. He knew she wasn't a child anymore, not really. But to him, she would always be the girl he found hiding in her dying mother's arms. One night, she came to him holding a small crystal. "It's from my mother," she said. He took it and listened. Soft voice filled the air, her mother's voice. "If you are hearing this, my daughter, it means you lived. It means you found someone who cared enough to fight for you. Do not be afraid of your gift, share it, but guard it well. One day the stars will call again, and when they do, be ready." Lyra looked up at him, tears in her eyes. "I'm scared," she said. He placed a hand on her shoulder. "So was I," he said. "But I had someone to guide me. Now, You guide others. Years passed. Word of the sanctuary spread quietly. Alien refugees came, orphans, escaped slaves, hunted outcasts. All welcomed, all protected. Ryland stood guard at the edge of the canyon. He was older now. His hair had grayed. His hands bore scars. But his heart was full. He had kept his promise, and in return the girl he saved had saved something greater. Then one day, a ship arrived. Old, worn, human-made. Nira stepped out. She looked around and smiled. You really built it? No, Ryland said. She did. Inside the temple, Lyra, now grown, calm, powerful, walked to meet her old friend. Nira, she said. You came. Nira nodded. The council has changed. Some of us remember what was done. Some want to make it right. Lyra didn't answer. Instead, she stepped aside. Behind her were hundreds of children, alien, human, mixed, training together, laughing. The future. That night, they sat around a fire. Lyra looked at the stars and asked, Do you think the galaxy will ever stop fighting? Ryland chuckled. I don't know, but maybe it'll fight for better reasons. She smiled. I'm glad I met you. I didn't save you, he said. You saved me. She rested her head on his shoulder, just like she did when she was small, and in the silence between stars, a promise once made echoed across time, a promise that had been kept.